Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farmer, the podcast. This is your host, JC Young, and today's topic and discussion is this. If you don't know a person's pain, do you really know that person? So I just got off of one of my consulting calls with one of our members inside of Legacy Farmer, and this member is trying to build something of their own, right? Like everybody in this industry or just in any industry in general, it doesn't have to be in the farming and ranching industry. It can be in contracting or, whatever, right? All of us are trying to build something. And this person is trying to expand their consulting company that they have, and they are struggling with ultimately establishing trust with people, right? And I know I've talked about this before on prior podcasts over the past few years and stuff like that, but it's just, having this conversation with this individual sparked some motivation in me to share this topic again with all of you listeners here on Legacy Farmer, the podcast. And the big thing here is like, guys, deep down, right? When you think about your closest friends that you have, right? Or the people that you really trust, think about the only reason that you trust them, or the number one reason that you trust them. And most likely it's because you know their deep, dark shit. You know who they are at a deep, deep level, and you trust them because you know, and they've shared with you the pain that they've experienced in their life, right? And the thing is that a lot of people, they try to go out and build businesses and everything in this world, but most of them try to build the business, and their only idea or way of marketing it or sharing the business is talking about what they can do business-wise versus like why they really exist, right? And why they're actually doing what they're doing. And that why is always found in somebody's pain, right? So like for me in Legacy Farmer, for example, a lot of you listen to this, I left the banking industry back in 2016. It was not an easy decision for me then. I started thinking about leaving the bank in 2015 because I was sick and tired of seeing the crap that was going on inside of the bank. And I'd worked with a few different customers in the bank. And guys, it was literally like working with my parents, right? And most of you, again, know that my parents lost everything back in 2005, and 2006 was when we had our farm sale. Like it was a very dark time for them. And it was a very dark time for me to witness my dad going through that. And my mom, especially seeing that she sacrificed everything along with my dad to stay on the family feed yard when they could have moved anywhere, right? They could have done anything with their lives, and they chose to stay in Tribune, Kansas and do that. And it was very difficult for them, right? There was a lot of crying nights and just a lot of pain and anger and screaming and just crying and anger, right? That's the stuff people, they try to pretend doesn't happen. Deep down it does. We all know it does. It happens at everybody's household. Everybody goes through things in life and in business and stuff like that puts us into those places sometimes. I've never heard of one business owner said, yeah, it's been easy the entire time. It's just not, doesn't exist, right? Or married person or, a person with kids, right? And children. Like there's no easy parts of that journey. There's going to be some that are joyful, right? But there's going to be a lot of very hard parts that will push us over the edge, right? Now, again, most business owners, they try to go to the typical kind of generic way of marketing for example, like with Legacy Farmer, I could market the tools and stuff that we have in Legacy Farmer and the network. All that stuff is super valuable. All that stuff is proven to save our members anywhere from $60,000 to $250,000 a year, not just in finances, but in mistakes and team management. Like all that stuff, funnels back into your balance sheet and how you run in your business. So we save money, a ton of people there, but that is not what attracts people to Legacy Farmer. What attracts people to Legacy Farmer is the story of Legacy Farmer, the reason why Legacy Farmer exists. And part of it too, the reason it took me several years to actually get Legacy Farmer up and off the ground was because I was struggling releasing my pain. I was struggling releasing and giving myself permission to share the pain that I experienced and trying to build my own business and leaving the banking industry and the problems that me and my wife went through and the really harsh things that were said to each other when I left the bank, which is, I look back at that time, guys, I had $6,000 in the bank and 2 babies at home and no plan. So I look back at that time, I'm like, man, the ball's on you, kid. So it wasn't really thought through, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I knew what I wanted and I was willing to pay the price to do that, which honestly, guys, the price could have been my marriage, right? So that was a very painful time for me and a very hard time where I had to look deep within my soul and find out how much I really trusted God and trusted his guidance and trusted the path that he had laid before me and the opportunity that he had laid before me. And I had to commit to the journey. And then the next 3 years were a struggle. They were an absolute struggle. Part of it was absolute hell, and it resulted in stress across money and marriage and children and just feeling like a failure as a husband and a father, right? That's the real dark truth of it. And it just seemed like it was never ending, right? But how many people do you hear talk about that, right? So again, when I talk about marketing Legacy Farmer or bringing in new customers to Legacy Farmer, yeah, we have the tools. I will invest heavily into the tools. We put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into the tools that we built for our customers that guarantee results. But the thing is, though, is that people don't come into Legacy Farmer strictly for the tools. They come in because why Legacy Farmer exists in the first place and the why and the mission that we have as an industry. And that is all built off of our story. And guess what's inside of our story? Pain. But when you're willing to open up and share that pain, which I finally did the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, when I started Legacy Farmer, all of a sudden now we started catching traction, right? Because finally I just basically took all my clothes off and just shared everything and was completely exposed. And I was like, hey, let's see what happens here. And I was so nervous around what people were going to think and all this stuff. Turns out it was the answer I've been looking for. Now, that's not just the answer for me, guys. That is literally the answer for every business owner in the world. You can build a business in anything you do, but the reason people do business with you is most likely because of the story or the background that started the business in the first place, right? It's kind of like farming and ranching, for example. The background story, the reason that you do what you do is because maybe you're a third generation farmer and you want to carry on what your father or your grandfather built, right? And the reason you want to carry that on because you know they went through 70, 80, 90 years of struggle, right? To build it from nothing, and the pain that they must have experienced and the stress and the sleepless nights that went on for years or decades that they spent worrying about this thing, trying to build something great for the next generation. So there's a massive, massive purpose for you going in and doing that. And then through you experiencing that, you're going to have your own pain as well. Now, okay, the whole reason I share all that, guys, is because deep down, people, they want to, they want to be, they just want to surround themselves with good people, I guess is what I'll say. And the thing is, guys, is there's about 5 or 6 people in my life that I'm super close with and that I would trust and that I would go to war with and do anything for. Those people, the only reason I'm like that with them is because I know their deep, dark pain and their deep, dark secrets as well. Okay. Now, it's super valuable, guys. And it's the biggest reason that a lot of people have come into Legacy Farmer. And again, they're not coming in, the tools and stuff. Yes, that's important. I get it. Right. But they're coming in because, of things I've shared in the past and that pain, because what I'm doing is I'm building trust with you guys. Right. And the thing is, like, I want that with everybody in my life. Right. That's why, typical, surface level conversations now with just random people, like in our town of Hays, Kansas, here where I'm located at. I don't do surface level conversations. Like, I just don't. I can't stand it. I could care less about March Madness that's going on right now. I could care less about, KU football or K-State football. I just don't care. I just do not care. When I'm talking to somebody, I want to have a real conversation. I want to talk about real challenges or real problems that they're dealing with, whether it's in family, children, or business owners, right? And the struggles that they're having building their team, managing their finances, tax planning, all that type of stuff. I want to have real conversations there because in those real conversations, there's pain. And where there's pain, there's growth as well. Okay, so these are things here that I need you to start understanding and connecting with. And also, too, how does this, a good question to ask here is, how does this impact you? Well, guys, the problem is that before I started sharing my pain, I was surrounded by a lot of fake people, okay? And guess what? I was one of them. Okay? I was, I had a bunch of friends and stuff back then, which again, I'm not saying they're not good people. I'm just saying they're not people that knew my pain. They're not people that knew my darkness. So every time I was around them, it's like I had to put on another face, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about because some of you are this way, even with your family members or with people in your community that you are around all the time or whatever. Right. And the problem is the more you do that, man, the more empty and like your life becomes, or at least that's what it was like for me. I was so tired of just like going through day to day, right? And just like settling for my life, which is why I left the bank. Okay. And I knew leaving the bank, I was going to put my family into an immense amount of pain and struggle and even risk divorce in my family. I was totally prepared for that. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but I was committed to changing my life for the better because the pain that I was experiencing, setting in the bank and putting, the certain situations that came up in that place and certain conversations I had with families and being able to basically see my parents over and over again and see people on the brink of losing everything. But then also too, knowing that I had this potential that I could fulfill on. And I was choosing not to do it. I was blatantly choosing not to become who God meant for me to become. And my family was ultimately paying the price. You know what I mean? right? That's the dark stuff that nobody wants to talk about. When you're sitting there at your office for 6 years, knowing within the first week of stepping into the bank that, hey, this isn't my long-term play. Like there's no way I can do this for 40 years. Lasted 6 years. Okay. And then I finally hit that breaking point to where the pain of staying the same was worse or more painful than the pain of changing. Right. And that's a huge thing that you need to recognize there. But when you start stepping into that, right, you start doing things differently, you start openly sharing exactly what your pain is and not giving a shit what anybody else thinks about it, because it's your truth, you're owning it. The only person you need to be concerned about what thinks about it is God. And guess what? If you're sharing your truth, he's like, hey, keep at it, man. Keep at it, young one, and keep doing this. Because when you do that, it's your way and it's God's way of getting the wrong people out of your life and getting the right people into your life that are actually like truly care, right? That really want what's best for you and stuff like that. And those people are out there, right? But until I started sharing what my absolute truth was and what my pain was and things I was experiencing as a business owner, as a married man, and as a father to all women and all girls, man, like once I did that, my world opened up to people like, yeah, I feel you. I get where you're coming from. Hey, this is where I've been too. And these are the things I did to fix it, right? Your surrounding starts to change dramatically, and you stop putting up with the surface level bullshit that you've maintained or put up with for the past 3 decades of your life. And you start surrounding yourself with real people that want to grow, that want to be better, right? And ultimately want to have their own circle of people they can absolutely trust and reach out to. I can confidently say there's maybe 5 or 6 people on my list that, and some of them I haven't talked to in a couple of years, but I know I could reach out to them because, and I know that they would do anything for me because they know who I am deep in my core and they know my pain, right? So I wanted to share that with all you guys because this is a conversation I had with one of our members as they're trying to grow their business, because they're trying to market their business with the surface level, general marketing stuff that just doesn't really do anything for anybody. It doesn't like connect you with that person. And again, this isn't about sales and marketing. It's about connecting with people and getting yourself surrounded by the right people. And so, for example, with like Legacy Farmer, and some of our ads and stuff, you probably see some ads on Facebook. As some of you went through the comments, 50% of the people that are on there are like all about it. They're like, hey, this is great. Really appreciate what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. The other 50%, they're like, you're a bullshit liar. You're out here trying to take money from people, blah, 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 blah. He's a great salesman. Okay, cool. I get it. Okay, great. And I respect it too. In order to find the people I'm meant to serve, I also have to go through the people that I'm not meant to serve, right? But at the end of the day, it does not matter what the haters want to say. As long as I'm sharing my truth and living in my truth, God is going to bring the right people into my life. And that's what's made Legacy Farmer so valuable with the people that were serving there, because they were attracted the right way. They weren't attracted here for the tools or anything like that. They were attracted here because of the message of Legacy Farmer and the mission of Legacy Farmer and the story as to why Legacy Farmer was started, right? And ultimately the pain in that story. And that's what a lot of our customers have resonated with. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, it's probably what you resonate with too as well, right? I talk sometimes about the different tools and stuff that we use inside of Legacy Farmer, which are great, but it's probably not what really does it for you as far as like opening things up for you and pushing you to take action and stuff like that as well. And I'm just going to tell you from my experience, the more you share and release your pain that you have experienced inside of your life, the more you remove the fake people out of your life, including yourself, and you start to attract the real people in your life that actually want what's best for you and can understand where you're coming from and ultimately want to help you. And your life will significantly change for the better when you do that, whether it's with family problems and challenges, whether it's with trying to build a business, whatever that is. Expose the pain that you feel and literally watch your life change overnight. Like it's pretty dang quick. I'm just telling you. And it's really uncomfortable when you're going through it as well, because you'll second guess yourself and you'll go through these times where it's like, man, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that. Guys, if it was your truth, you absolutely should have said it, and God meant you to say it. Otherwise you wouldn't have said it. But there's a part of you where you have to go through and kill the old version of yourself. And when that old version of yourself is dying, man, it's painful. And that version of you it's trying to pull you back in and get you back there. You have to be resilient here. You have to be committed to the pathway that you're taking going forward, which is a pathway of truth and sharing your truth, sharing your pain and things that you're dealing with there, and trusting that God is going to take you down the exact journey you're supposed to go down and bring the right people into your life. So my friends, that concludes today's long message. I hope you found it valuable. I hope it opened up some things for you. And more importantly, I hope you get comfortable and find the courage to share your pain and share your truth and let God do the rest. So That's what I got for you this week, my friends. Hope you found it valuable, and we will catch you on next week's episode. What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep, deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.